Jordan Clarkson captures the hearts of basketball fans despite Gilas Pilipinas failing to advance to the next round of the FIBA World Cup. What's it like to be a proud dad to an NBA star? Here in the studio is no less than Coach Mike Clarkson. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach Mike. So what has this trip been like for you so far? Watching Gilas' matches, seeing tourism spots, shopping, and hanging out with Filipino basketball fans.
Well, thanks again for having me. It's been phenomenal for us. We've enjoyed it. We enjoy it every time we come. You know, of course, my wife likes to shop like every other woman. But you know,
your wife Janie's with you this evening in the studio.
I kind of tell her to let's focus on basketball a little bit and less shopping. But in regards to Jordan and the family, we have a great time. We come, and he's committed, you know, to the Gilas program, and he loves the Philippines. He comes back virtually every year, and so you know we're looking to come back a little more often, so that he can have an impact, because he understands the position that he holds and how he's idolized, so to speak, or iconic.
And how proud are you as a dad, Coach Mike, being the father of a Utah Jazz NBA star, and also your son being a member of the Gilas Pilipinas?
I'm extremely proud of Jordan. But what I'm most proud about, to be honest with you, Rico, is how he handles himself. He takes the responsibility of being who he is, and he takes that seriously. And he wants people to view him in a positive light always. And when you talk about him playing with the Utah Jazz, that's something that he never envisioned, because he was with the Lakers. As you know, he was drafted by the Lakers, and he enjoyed the Los Angeles life. And
he also played for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Played with LeBron James also. They went to the finals in 2018. And then he was traded to Utah. And he wasn't really sure how he would like Utah, how he'd be perceived also. But once he got to Utah, and the people from the first day he stepped on the court when he got there, they embraced him. And from there, he just flourished. And he enjoys being there. He gives back to the community in Utah. He just doesn't like to leave too much, should I say. He doesn't come home very much.
And you mentioned that Jordan has a good heart, he's kind, he gives back, he's grounded, and he's kind to people. What did you instill in him, these values? Was it since he was a little boy?
Well, it wasn't myself also, it was his mom as well. But we always told him, or should I say we taught him, that you always have to be humble. You always have to understand that there's always someone who's in need more than yourself. And you always look to be some sort of individual where you can have an outreach, you can make an impact in the community, you can be a positive role model, because you have, you know, there's so many different ways you can go as a youth in the States. You can choose to go left and do things the wrong way, or you can choose to go right and listen to your parents and the guidance that other people give you, that they put around you. And he had a fine balance. You know, he had a stern upbringing. I can be honest, because I was a military man as well in the United States Air Force, so he had a firm upbringing. But to his credit, he listened, and he allowed us to guide him and to give him advice and to direct him and to tell him about the hazards of life, whether it be in the streets and doing things you shouldn't be doing, or if you were going to college and how you going to be a professional, not necessarily an athlete, but a professional and a productive member of society.
And that's really very important.
Yes, sir.
The discipline, and that the son or the child keeps an open mind and his ears are always open to the advice of the parents.
Yes.
If not, he shuts you out and he turns his back on you.
Well, you know, being a coach, coach is always direct. And so unfortunately, I was his coach for a long time. And so I direct him at home, and then when he's in his athletic arena, I give him direction there. But also as a parent, you mature. No one gives you a book and tell you how to be a great parent.
And you have to grow up with your child.
Correct, correct. And what you try to establish is a great relationship with your child. And at one point, you're no longer the director, you become a better listener. And when you become a listener, you can understand, and they feel more inept to talk to you more. And that's what we did with Jordan, my wife and I, and all of our other family members to kind of guide him. We allowed him to give us input and to tell us things maybe that, you know, maybe he thought we were being too stern, or maybe he thought, you know, well, why don't you guys think about this, Dad? And also that kind of transferred into sports as well, to be honest with you, Rico, because being a coach, sometimes you don't know how to take that hat off. So I didn't want to be the coach.
And also a father.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And so I allowed Jordan to be coached by others that I kind of handpicked, because I wanted Jordan to understand it's like the real world. One person doesn't know everything.
That's right.
You can take bits and pieces, good and bad, from everyone, and you put that all together, and you kind of form your philosophy on life and how you want to be a successful individual, and then you kind of go forward from there, to be honest.
And Coach Mike, before Jordan was drafted way back in 2014, you were diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the spine. And it's been 9 years since then, and you are now cancer-free,
Yes,
and you are now running the Jordan Clarkson Foundation. Tell us more how you are giving back through this foundation together with Jordan and the family.
Well, the foundation was founded in 2014 after I went through my stint with cancer, stage 4. That was something that is very impactful to families. People outside really don't understand how the family is impacted by cancer. And being there with stage 4, of course, Jordan was in his senior year of college at Missouri, so he was worried about me. And I kind of advised him, Jordan, you continue to do it. I want you to stay in school. I want you to finish the season strong, and I want you to do well.
Yeah.
And I was able to go to the Mayo Clinic. So once
You had to be strong for Jordan.
I did.
Yeah. Even though you were going through many physical challenges yourself, Coach Mike, you wanted him to continue and not just, be sad
Yes, sir.
for your situation.
Yes, and I'll tell you honestly, the words that I gave Jordan is this: you let me go through what I have to go through, and you do what you have to do on that basketball court at University of Missouri. And if you do that, we'll both be successful. And I didn't ever want him to see me as having my shield kind of dented, my armor dented, so to speak, because he idolized me, being his dad. And so, as a boxer, we're always taught to have a stoic face, regardless of how much you may be hurting. And Manny Pacquiao could tell you a lot about that.
You're a highly regarded amateur boxer as well.
Yes, sir. I've had my days there as well. They weren't very good, but it happens. It happens, just like life. But I didn't want Jordan to see me and to think that I was suffering. And so I put the steel face on, and I wanted him to understand, hey, I'm fighting hard. And even my wife told him as he called to check on me and see how I was doing and going through my treatments. And after the major surgeries, two major surgeries that I had, I told him just continue to, be positive with him.
Yeah.
Even though I was struggling, to tell Dad, he's doing well. He's fighting.
But what's wonderful, Coach Mike, is that you are now cancer-free.
Yes, sir.
God is good.
Yes, he is. Yes,
God is great.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And this foundation
Yes, sir.
that you have has helped a lot of people in LA, Cleveland, and Utah.
Yes, sir. And San Antonio as well, our hometown. We know there are a lot of families in need around the world.
Yeah.
We get emails all the time from all over. And we focused on the communities where Jordan has played right now because it's close as far as proximity, geographically speaking. But one of the areas that Jordan really wants to impact is the Philippines itself. Because I'll never forget how he came home on his first visit here. I think it was maybe in 2018, maybe. No, 2017, I think it was. And he went to the tenement. And I never forget, I saw in his face where he was really moved as he came home, and his eyes kind of watered as he explained to my wife and I. He said, Dad, he said, I went to the tenement, and I started playing with these young men. And he said, we started shooting, and I told them, hey, go get your shoes. Go get your shoes, and we're going to play basketball seriously. And the kids kind of snatched the ball out of his hand, and they started playing. And one of his advisors said, Jordan, they don't have tennis shoes.
Right.
And that really struck him.
So will the foundation also extend its assistance and help to some of our marginalized Filipino brothers and sisters?
Yes, indeed. And we're working really close with East West Private. We call it EWP. And they're very familiar, and they're within this area. And they can advise us on how we go about doing that, because we at the distance that we are, we're really not sure how we can be impactful. But we're gonna seek their advice and allow them to guide us and navigate our way through the Philippines and help as many people as we can. That's most important to Jordan.
And your hometown is San Antonio,
Yes,
and you and your son have started a new restaurant business called Bojangles.
Yes, sir.
So how is it faring right now?
Wow. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, we're blessed in that regard. We opened the first day, and people were waiting in line almost 2.5, 3 hours. And that's, to me, that's just unbelievable.
Is it just one branch that you have? Are you planning to expand?
Well, we're bringing them out of the Northeast.
Okay.
The Northeast United States in the Carolinas, and we brought them to Texas. And so this is the first store in Texas, in the state of Texas. And so they weren't really sure that we'd be successful. But business is booming. And now we're scheduled to open 3 more restaurants, and we'll probably try to venture a little farther west. But it's going great. It is.
But how important is it for an NBA superstar or for any player for that matter to make investments during their career?
That's something that a lot of players really don't understand.
Yeah.
And they kind of look for people to advise them.
And sometimes they get the wrong advice.
Correct. I didn't want to say that, but that's true. That's true.
And they lose everything.
They lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you make
the millions of dollars that they earn from their careers are gone because they're always given the wrong advice.
Sadly, as I told Jordan, being in the position that you're in, Rico, any mistake you make is going to cost you. Normal people, it doesn't bother us as much.
Yeah.
You'll lose a lot. And so that's why we really invest our time in researching projects and to figure out how can we be successful. And if that's not a venture we can be successful at, we kind of step away from it. But the Bojangles is one that's going very well for us, and we know that we're going to position the other restaurants within San Antonio and then westward bound in a strategic fashion.
And as they say, it's about location, location,
Yes,
location
indeed.
for
Yes.
any type of restaurant
Yes, sir.
business.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And we have a phenomenal location. We have a phenomenal location, and everybody knows Jordan Clarkson in San Antonio. So when they come in, they're expecting him to be in the restaurant. I said, no, he has to work a little bit. He has another type of job.
A basketball career,
Yes, sir.
a foundation,
Yes, sir.
and a business to fall back on after his basketball
Yes, sir.
career. Many of our viewers on The Final Word really love the advice that you have shared with us and how you brought up Jordan. Can you share with them, especially those who aspire to be basketball players or who are growing up, what kind of advice can you share with sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers on how and what kind of relationship they should have with their children?
Well, let me say this, Rico. I understand the 3 letters NBA. But NBA, those letters were never mentioned in our residence because it's such a distant goal. Every day, that's part of your journey. It's like putting a block into a wall and building the foundation. And one bad day can just ruin everything.
That's correct.
And so what we did with Jordan, we set smaller goals that are attainable so that he can see, it's almost like a road map, GPS, that he's going in the right direction. And so we'd sit back annually and look at what he did in comparison to what we put on paper. And it wasn't about the NBA. Our goal was to get to college.
An education.
Correct. And we told Jordan he wanted to leave to go into the NBA draft early. And we said, you can't do that. Education is most important. If you can get drafted this year, you can get drafted next year. But I said, before you leave, you have to graduate from the University of Missouri. And he did that. And so the best advice I can give parents in regards to guiding your child is just as I stated, listen. Don't be an overbearing parent. That's number one. Well, number two, should I say, because that's where a lot of parents make a mistake. And allow the child to kind of guide himself, because Jordan has played different sports, and he chose basketball late because of his younger brother, not because he was talented, because his younger brother was talented and he wanted to kind of mimic his footsteps. And he saw that he was successful.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your insights right here on The Final Word.
Yes, sir.
Very proud of you, Coach Mike Clarkson.
No, thank you very much for having me, Rico. I really appreciate it.